What's up, artists? Today I'm going to talk about, well, the topic from yesterday was what is an artist? What is an artist? Not just who is an artist, but what is an artist? And so yesterday I talked about someone who practices their art every day. That's an artist. So if you practice your craft, and again, I draw, I paint, I sculpt, but if you sing or dance or write or do any kind of other creative act, you are an artist because it's about consistency. And I know some artists who they practice a lot and they play a lot with their art and they don't consider themselves artists. They just like to make art. It's a very interesting phenomenon, right? But if you ever wanted to understand what is an artist, someone who practices art every day. And number two, this is today's topic, someone who is not afraid of reworking over their mistakes. And I wrote mistakes in quotes. Because, well, what is a mistake? I don't know. So let me zoom out for a second. There we got Uncle Bob Ross hanging out with us. And so I did this drawing yesterday on the live. And there's just something about it I don't like. And so it's okay to not like our work. And I've been drawing every day for like 40 plus years. So there's going to be times when I don't like my work. So hopefully that's some kind of a solace to you guys. So I am just going to erase this because, well, I want to show you sometimes you just need to be brave. And look, some of the drawing is still showing through. So I'm not completely obliterating it, but what I'm using here is called a kneaded eraser. K-N-E-A-D-E-D, kneaded. Kind of like a piece of gum, but it's an eraser. And you can see I'm just literally erasing. And you could still see the faint representation of what I originally drew. So, like I said, I didn't like the way the head was on the body. There was just something about it that bothered me, and that's okay. That is the whole point of this second part, is an artist is someone who's not afraid of reworking over their mistakes. And if that means throwing your art away, whether it's a drawing, painting, piece of poetry, writing, look, you can delete something on a computer, but you could save it, right? But this is a drawing on paper, and it's pretty much almost gone. And that is a very scary thing for artists to do. But I've done this enough to know that I can rebuild, right? So before I had a character and their head was facing this way, so I'm just going to do a whole new character. And what this is, again, it's allowing me to be brave in this situation. I'm going to make a character looking up and to the right versus down and to the left. And, you know, I imply a lot of things in these drawings. I'm not necessarily teaching anything here, but I'm just kind of showing you guys that it's okay to start over. It's okay to burn it down. How many of you feel that you've been burning your old life down? By the way, I draw a lot of characters with horns. That's just something I like to do. It just gives me another element to play with. So before, the character's horns were like so. Yes, this is a coffee cup with horns on it. So I can just play with totally different types of horns. Why horns? Well, that's a whole other thing. I'm talking about starting over, essentially. But you're not really starting over. So this character's body initially was going this way. So I'm going to make it go in the other way. Sometimes you just want to go in completely opposite directions as to where you were going before. because you're still retaining your knowledge, right? Your knowledge of what you put into the initial thing. And again, this is a scary thing to do because we create something, we put the time into it. It's like a relationship. You build a relationship and then well, in the case of art, creating a piece of art, you destroy it. That's something you necessarily want to do in real life relationships, but creating art and destroying that art is a great way to really grow as an artist, I have found in my experience as an artist. So now there's a whole new character, a whole new vibe, a whole new direction, right? The other character was facing a completely different direction. Now this character is facing a new direction. And sometimes we need that in our lives. We need to essentially chart a new course. Kind of like sailing. If you guys know how to sail or understand the concept of sailing. I've only been sailing. I don't know how to sail. It's pretty difficult, it seems. But you have a new direction. You have a new course that you go into. And, sometimes it's helpful to know where it is you're going, but sometimes you don't know where you're going. You just don't. And that is the fun of exploration, and it's also the terror of exploration. Look, if you knew exactly where it was you were going, well, there might be surprises along the way, but you're not really going to be surprised when you get there. So I think the fun and terror of being an artist is not knowing. You don't know where your art is going to go. And you don't know necessarily where you're going to end up. So again, what I'm doing here is a lot of implied anatomy. And sometimes you just want to get the gist of things before you start to define things. So creating art, especially loose drawings or loose writings, is a great way to kind of imply things. And you don't put too much time into it. And in that respect, you can essentially bow out. You can decide, hey, I don't want to do this thing anymore, and then start something new. So drawing is a great analogy in this concept of just being loose and being rough with things. You don't have to pinpoint everything in life or in art as much as we're told by the collective to make very clear goals. And I'm all for that's very great in some respects. But again, as in life, as in art, you want to leave room for the unexpected. You want to be able to have fun. And there's no way you can have fun by knowing exactly what is going to happen. Those two cannot coincide in the same universe. So what do? You just make kind of very loose, rough indications of things, like I'm doing with this face here. And again, I'm not crazy about it. So I started this live with a character from yesterday, and they were facing a different direction. They were facing down into the left. Now this character is facing up into the right. And you know what? I'm not crazy about it. I am just not crazy about it. So again, we do things fast and loose and rough so that we can then come in and destroy it, right? But we have the knowledge of what was there before, such as in the case of this drawing. It's what was there before. I want a bit more of a confident character. And I'm just going to have them facing us. So I kind of know what I want. So sometimes to figure out what you don't want, or to figure out what you want, is that you have to fucking figure out or experience what you don't want. That's pretty valid. It's a valid system, as it were. It might not seem ideal. Okay, now I want this character looking at us. And again, because at the end of the day, as visual artists, we are only creating 3 different things: characters, environments, and abstract elements. My characters are based off of human anatomy. So that means I need to initially understand human anatomy. What does that mean? Well, in the case of what I'm drawing here, I have a face, 2 eye sockets, indication of the bottom of the nose, and the lips. Right? And I can quickly decide, do I want this drawing to continue to go in this way? I can put directional lines like so. And again, this is the power of the gesture. Everything I am talking about here can be applied to life, like how we think about life. And well, what is a gesture? It's the quick idea, essentially. So I have a face here, and then I have the angle of the shoulders. Are they going this way, or are they going the other way? Which is going to look more interesting? I can already tell that this direction is going to look a bit more interesting. And so getting the directions of things very loosely is going to allow you to get the vibe of the thing you're after. Okay, I'm still going to go with these new set of horns because I kind of like these. Horns are tricky. I've been studying horns for like 10 years now. That's a whole other story, but this gives me a whole other element to play with. So now I have a more confident character, the character that I was kind of after initially. And I like the idea of chakras and energy centers being lit up. And you know, the character's eyes can be closed or open, really doesn't matter, but I like characters that are exploring themselves. Okay, so I'm going to go another 3 minutes because I'm keeping these at 15 minutes. Why 15 minutes? Because time is precious, right? It's our only true precious resource. Look, if you had 10 minutes left to live and $10 million, I mean, what good is that money to you? So hopefully this resonates with anyone listening. Get the vibe of what it is you're after. And again, that can be writing. You don't have to know how to draw. This is just one way that I can create an analogy towards, say, manifestation, right? What it is you want in your life. What the hell do you want, right? That is the true question I think everyone is after. And that a lot of people are not really researching. A lot of people know what they don't want. A lot of people do not know what they do want. And so I think ultimately it's safe to say that we all want happiness, inner peace. And if that's in the form of money, great, or relationships, or work, really it's very simple in that regard. Inner peace. And so art can be the vehicle to that discovery. So it definitely has been for me a lot of the times. And so in wrapping up, you want to be able to visualize your future. speaking of inner peace, I have a character here, and I would like to think they are experiencing a transcendental inner peace experience that trumps all other experiences, in my opinion. So again, you need to find what you like. Hey, if you want to make $1 billion and have yachts and shit, great. What does that look like for you? What does billions of dollars in yachts look like? Does it mean fucking helicopter launching pads on yachts and your own harem of harems and suitcases filled with drugs and the keys to the city? Like, seriously, what does it look like for you to be able to have what you want? Sometimes the easiest thing to do is just to write it all down. Write down, hey, just be honest with yourself. No one's going to see it. Write down and say, hey, I want $1 billion and I want yachts and I want hoes and boats and all that shit. I'm speaking for men and women here, hoes and boats. And then you get into, why do you want those things? Not in a judgmental way, but why do you want boats and hoes and billions of dollars, right? Why do you want those things? And you will uncover more things about yourself in that process. And you might decide, hey, okay, this is what I need to do to get boats and hoes. Let's go. And what does that have to do with horns and shit? Absolutely nothing, and as much as you want. And you can see I'm continuously erasing, because our thoughts and our desires, they come and go like the wind. And 10 minutes ago, you might decide, hey, I want to be a millionaire and I want to have all these people at my beck and call doing what I want. And then 10 minutes later, you're like, you know what? I want to be a monk in the fucking wilderness. What the fuck is that about? That is up to you to explore. And so, in wrapping things, get to the core of what you want and start thinking about, what are your goals as far as time goes? Where do you want to be 1 year from now? Where do you want to be 2 years from now? 5 years? 10 years? I'll leave you with this question. What if this were your last year on Earth? What would you be doing right now? Would you be on Instagram? I appreciate anyone watching, but I'd be on Instagram doing these videos talking about last year on Earth. That's what I'd be doing, because it's a very profound and special question for each one of us to ask is, if this were our last year on Earth, what would we be doing? For me, I'd be drawing a lot more, and I draw a lot. So I'm doing exactly what I'm doing. Hopefully you guys are doing what you're doing. If not, you can start to figure out what the hell you want to do with your life. It's your life. You get to decide. No one else decides for you. If you think other people are deciding for you, that is an error on your part, and I'm here to lightly shake you up, wake you up from that false narrative. All right. Thank you guys for watching. This is recorded. This is posted on my feed after the fact. If you want to join my school community and join other dope artists getting together for free, just hanging out, making art, and discovering the true, unique artistry of your life, join us. Thank you guys.